So hello everyone. Today we are still on module 1. I would like to refresh your memory from last time. So last time we discussed about the subject matter of economics. We discussed what economics dealt with, and we also discussed about the broad branches of economics. We talked about micro, macro, and then we talked about the two approaches, that is positive economics and normative economics. And we also ended by saying how a coordination of the two branches are very important, especially for policy making. Now today we are still on module 1, but we are going to talk about the fundamental principles of economics. Now, the fundamental principles are not specific to micro or macroeconomics. These are just the foundation principles that would be necessary for any course in econ. So this is not something that you must know if you're taking a course in micro, or you must know if you're taking a course in macro. This is something that should stay with you for a basic course as well as for any advanced course in economics. So the first principle is called the principle of choice. Now, if you remember last time when we answered the question, what is economics? We said economics is basically a social science and it deals with the process of decision making or choice making. Now, if you snooze for a bit and you think about choices, then we are actually making choices at every step in our life. You wake up in the morning and you have to, go out. You decide to take breakfast before you go out. So you make a choice whether you're going to eat cereals or you're going to eat bread. That's a choice. You go to your closet and you decide whether you're going to wear a blue shirt or a white shirt. That's a choice. Once you walk out of your house, you think whether you're going to ride a bicycle or you're going to drive a car. So that's a choice. When you sign up for a course, you decide whether you're going to take a course in economics or you're going to spend the same time taking a course in music. So at every step in our life, we are basically making choices. We are basically taking a decision. We have options and we are choosing one option over other options. Now, all the time, we are not very aware about this. We are not making a big deal about this. We are not saying, okay, right now I'm ready to make my next choice. But we are making choices at every step in our life. So you can see how economics is important, because economics is really the subject that deals with the art of making choices or the process of making choices. Now, the question that comes up obviously is that why should we make choices? If everyone has to make choices and we are indeed making choices at every step in our life, then the obvious question is, why should we make these choices? So, why do we have to make choices? Why can we not have it all? The answer to this question is given by limitation or scarcity of resources. So all individuals and society is characterized by limitation or scarcity of resources. Resources are limited and hence we cannot have as much of everything, or we cannot have everything for that matter. We need to pick and choose. Now please note that by resources I do not necessarily mean money. Resources could also be something like time. For example, let's say you have 1 hour 15 minutes of free time every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Now you want to take a course in econ and you also want to take a course in music, but you only have this 1 hour 15 minutes, so you need to really decide whether you're going to invest those 1 hour 15 minutes in econ or in music. Now, if there was no limitation on the resource time, then you would probably end up taking both courses because you want to take both those courses. So really, what makes choice making important and pertinent is the limitation or scarcity of resources. Now, what is true at the individual level or at the micro level is also true at the level of the society or at the macro level. That means individuals are faced by limitation of resources, and so is the society. Now, before we move any forward, let's understand what do we mean by resources. So, another word for resources is inputs. That means resources or inputs are anything that is needed to produce something else. Okay, so anything that is needed to produce something else is called a resource or an input. So a resource or an input is necessary to produce an output. In economics, inputs can be divided into four broad categories, namely land, labor, capital, and organization. Some textbooks also call this entrepreneurship. So land, as you can understand, it is precisely the piece of land where any business is set up. It is the vacant piece of land, a yard or a lot. Labor specifically refers to manpower or human resource. You know, for any productive process that is important. Capital is basically the equipments or machinery, the warehouse, the machines that go into production of something. And organization is basically the skill or managerial skill or strategy that goes into making something. So any resource or input could be broadly categorized into one of these four categories. Now, for simplicity, further, we just consider two inputs, that is labor, which is denoted by a capital L, and capital, which is denoted by a capital K. Please note, it is not a capital C but a capital K. So basically, labor is the manpower or the human resource, and everything else, that is land, capital, and organization, are just grouped or clubbed under capital. So for simplicity, we just say that there are two resources, labor and capital, and there is a dearth or scarcity of these resources, and hence it is important for individuals and a society to make choices given this limitation of resources. And this basically sums up the principle of choice. Now, when we have to make a choice, if we have to choose option A over option B, what is the mechanism of making that choice? So let's say you have your summer vacation, and during your summer vacation you have two choices. You could either go for a vacation to Cancun, Mexico, or you could go for a vacation to maybe Switzerland, right? Well, Switzerland definitely sounds exotic, but you know, before taking that decision, before making that choice, you really have to delve deeper and understand the mechanism of making a choice. The mechanism by which individuals in society make a choice is called the cost-benefit analysis, which is the second principle in economics. Cost-benefit analysis. Cost-benefit analysis simply means that when you are making a choice, you are looking at the benefit or the advantage of something and weighing it against the cost of that same option. So you are basically doing a benefit versus cost analysis. So for every choice that you make, you weigh the benefits and you weigh the costs. If the benefits are greater than the costs, then you end up taking that option. Whereas if the costs are higher, then you shun that option and do something that is relatively cheaper. So basically, all individuals are trying to maximize their benefits or minimize their costs. That is the objective of every individual and also the society at a large. So choice making is guided by this cost-benefit analysis. Now next, as we move forward, we are going to talk about the details of this cost-benefit analysis, and we are going to move towards marginal analysis.